各位观众晚上好，我们今天要玩最终幻想 or as we know it in English, Final Fantasy on the NES is what I normally would say, but this is not a playthrough of Final Fantasy. We have actually completed it as of yesterday, so we ran out of time, but now we have the time, or at least I have a little bit of time, to go ahead and review the game since I wasn't able to do so yesterday. Sorry for the late start. There actually was something I had to take care of, so that's why we're here, and it'll be quick. So before we go into Zelda for a little bit, because it's probably the end of the game for Zelda, but I'll talk about that when we switch over. But yeah, this is the review of our Final Fantasy. I usually make one shortly after I beat the game. Sometimes not on the same day when it's still fresh in my mind. And usually we divide them into 4 categories: story, graphics, sound, and gameplay. And then I don't do rating systems, but I usually talk about whether or not I would recommend or not recommend the game. It's a pretty easy system to keep track of because I don't use numbers. I really don't like numbers. I don't find them very useful. But yeah, that doesn't tell you much about whether or not the game's worth your time. So let's go ahead and begin. So, Final Fantasy on the NES. And remember, we do take into account the game's time of creation. So we're not going to be basing it off like modern standards, especially this game, which is over almost 40 years old. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So first we'll talk about Final Fantasy on the NES. Hello, Illusion Queen, welcome. NES is a story. I mean, it's interesting? Question mark. Remember that this is 1987, and we're still haven't figured out how to make complex tales, or like, not that we didn't know how. Sorry, maybe that's not the right thing. It's like more like RPGs were still very new, and like the genre, how to handle storytelling in the genre was still very new. Remember, this is the time of Dragon Quest and like maybe and Phantasy Stars. I think is around this time too. Though we were trying to figure out how to express story, and writing games was still very much like early on. So this game is kind of like that too, where like there are a lot of there's a lot of ideas that are not fully they're not like the most complicated like story ever. Like there's not going to be gripping character driven tale like that hasn't been like really figured out in video games yet. And like I'm saying that based on my limited, like, remember there may be something, but like it's nothing popular, or at least in consoles, that could reach that level. Like that stuff was more like the more interesting stuff is relegated to Sierra Interactive games, like interactive adventure games where you point and click, and then they would have more intricate stories, whereas in an RPG that wasn't a thing quite yet. So we were still figuring. So this game's story is pretty it's pretty simple mostly. I mean, essentially you are just saving the world. You're trying to restore the crystals / orbs. What they all call it orbs because of translation limitations, but it's crystals. And you beat the bad guy, and that's kind of it. Your characters themselves don't ever say anything. You have no story arc because your characters are created by you, and you make their stories. So there's nothing. You're not really part of the narrative, and essentially it's kind of like the game is very much based off of like the Dungeons and Dragons style of storytelling, where like you go from campaign to campaign, but there's not really oftentimes there's not really like a overarching plot. So you just move from town to town, you solve the town's problems, and like in an arbitrary way, and that's kind of it. The only interesting thing is the fact that this is all like done for a time loop, which is kind of like that's a little crazy. Like, is it like like they try to have this thing where the bad guy's plot is literally to continually keep sending himself back in time over and over until he got so he could essentially live forever. I'm not really sure how that works, and it's not really well explained, but hey, they were trying to do something interesting other than just a simple like, oh, we have a bad thing that happened, and if you save the bad thing, that's it. Because oftentimes that was enough for an RPG story, and they're trying something a little more interesting, but I don't think it's quite executed very well and not explained very well. But or at least not with our English translation. I don't know if it's clearer in Japanese, but I don't think it is. I don't know, and like I guess if you play Stranger Paradise, they'll expand on it a little bit more. I think I don't really know actually. I've never actually beaten Stranger Paradise, but yeah, the story is basically that. It's just like it's serviceable basically. Like, there's nothing crazy interesting. You're not going to remember the plot very well because, frankly, there's no real dialogue or stakes. I mean, you remember points in the games, but you don't, like, maybe, like, struggles or villages, like Lafine being an ancient town, but... And, like, you might remember the locales, but you won't really remember the story, so... It's basically, yeah, it's essentially serviceable. It's the product of its time. It's not going to make anyone cry, or it's not going to make you remember emotionally, but at least it got you through the game, and that's about it. And it was like kind of a foundation of like how to, or a way to practice how to do storytelling in RPGs. And don't worry, I was gonna say, like, this is just the foundation, and they do get better at it after this game. So, you gotta thank this game for some things. But yeah, that's pretty much it about the story. There's not much to say. The next is about the graphics. I mean, consider the time this was made, like, this is actually really interesting. Like, even the sprites are really detailed, because of Amano's monster monster designs. Those were really, really cool, and like they translated it into sprites so that you could have memorable looking monsters. Like, you'll definitely remember the sprites here, and like even the dungeons are actually pretty memorable too, because like there's a lot of little details in like how to. The dungeon really looks the same. And of course, I mean, there's Temple of Fiends, but that's like, that's a repeat dungeon, but that's the only one that you really technically have a repeat. But they expand on that thing where it looks, even the extra parts of the Temple of Fiends looks really different from past to present. In the present, it's just a series of ruins, whereas in past it was a sprawling dungeon. So that's really, really cool. There's a lot of really cool ideas. The character sprites have a lot of personality, and of course, like, they actually so much personality. They reused them in future games all the way to the Super Nintendo era. So how about that, right? But yeah, for the time, it was really, really, the graphics were really good. And like, it's definitely like, you could tell there's a lot of artistry that they tried. And it's just a testament to Amano Sensei's, like, Yoshitaka Amano, in case you're wondering who I'm referring to. His designs and his character designs as well. Yeah, and like, this is like also the beginning of, like, you can see like the Final Fantasy loves doing little tiny character sprites for your characters, and like big expressive sprites for bosses, and then you can see that trend already coming to fruition, and all the way into a Final Fantasy VI. It was a thing, and frankly, it still influences a lot of modern video games too, where you have these, you always have the little characters and the big sprites. Like indie games follow this that we've streamed, and even Square themselves have that legacy. You'll see that in Octopath Traveler, where you have the giant expressive sprites for enemies and especially bosses. So that's a lot of the establishing the trend. And like for the time, like these sprites are really, really good looking too. And remember the limited color palette of the NES, they had to figure out a way to express these Amano designs in a way so it's crazy. It's crazy detailed compared to a lot of what you could see in the other NES games. So that's what makes the NES Final Fantasy really, really special for the time. And I guess the nice thing about the graphics is also that because things are not too crazy, like you could tell where you're going, you can figure out what's like, for the most part you could figure out what you can, where you can walk, and so it's very clear where you, as you progress through dungeons and maps, and like and you can even have an airship, which is crazy. It's kind of crazy how Square was, and this is all the programming. I think they only want Nasir, so who did most of the programming. It is crazy how much work they did. So yeah, the graphics for the game are really good. They still hold up pretty well today. Like they're still very memorable. Obviously, this is not the best quote unquote looking version of the game, but for an NES game, it looks really, really good. And that also means we're going to go to sound. I have so much nice thing. Like, even in this time, back then, the music of the game is still so memorable. Like, yeah, there's not that many tracks, but this was, like, this type of song being in a video game was unheard of until, like, which is a testament to Uematsu Sensei's like genius. It's crazy. Like, this is pushing the NES sound chip. That's the one that plays Super Mario Brothers and a lot of like gamey music. Not to say that those are bad. It's just that it's just the same sound. On the same sound chip, you can have something that's kind of symphonic, and it's crazy. It's crazy how like good it still sounds. Like the melodies are still really memorable, and like gave like a sense of like, it was a contrast to Dragon Quest, which has like the bombastic things you're used, like kind of like a march or something. Like this even back then he was cooking. So like the music of the game is still really, really good. If the only thing bad about it is just the lack of, there's just not enough tracks. But this was back then. This game was made to attempt to not sink the company, because they were not in the greatest of shapes. So this game essentially really pulled them back into pretty safe, this company, essentially, because they were like, this is so good that if this fails, this might be the last game that we make. And it was really good. So they had Uematsu Sensei working on the soundtrack, and it's really, really good still. Like, you can tell, even with the NES sound chip, and even you're hearing it right now, like the famous Crystal theme, the one that endures all the way till now. It's crazy how much longevity some of these tracks have. So the soundtrack of the game is really good. If anything, I just wish there was boss music. We hadn't figured, like, it's a little sad that they never made a boss theme, but I mean, they will fix that next time, but not the next game, but not this game, they don't. That's a little sad. So hearing Chaos with standard battle music is kind of weird and a little anticlimactic. That's literally the only bad thing I have to say. In terms of sound effect, they sound pretty nice. Like, the only thing of knowing is the map sound effect when you load the map, like the little world map that shows you where everything is on the globe, which is kind of crazy that they actually figured out how to do that on the little dinky NES. That no, sound effect can be kind of grating. So for the most part, the sound effects are cool, but like there are a couple of grating things. This was the NES, so they were a bit more tolerant to that kind of stuff. But I could see how for some people it might be too grating. Excuse me. And so yeah, the sound is really cool. I mean, like the music of the game is really good. Sound effects are totally fine, and they work for the game. So now we come to gameplay. This game is quite interesting where the dungeon, like I think it's one of those games where I feel like without a guide it's a lot harder and a lot more punishing. I think one of the things I don't really like about this game is that it's Final Fantasy, this is a problem. This is a thing all the way from till like all the way to 10 at least. Yeah, I don't think the fact that the consequences for dying in battle are very, very painful. Unlike Dragon Quest, which while hard had also a very fair system in my opinion, where if you died you just end up back in your previous save with but you lose half your gold. I think that's a fair penalty, but you get to keep your EXP, so you don't lose progression necessarily, but you will. But it does come at the cost of resources, so it's not completely consequenceless. So sorry, I'm talking about a lot of Dragon Quest, but it's kind of like the other big RPG of this time, and there's a lot of games that follow it from that you might know of. But Final Fantasy is just not even going to be that nice. Basically, you die, you have to go back to the save. But the last save point with nothing. You lose everything, EXP and money. And it's a really not money, but you use EXP. So you have to essentially do everything all over again. And to me, I don't really like that. I think that is actually one of the things that of early Final Fantasy that I'm not actually a big fan of. I get that part of I am getting a little torn though. I do understand that we want, like, this game is infamous for like make you really feel that sense of adventure and the dangers of adventure. So you essentially know when you go in a dungeon, like if you fail, you're gonna start from the beginning of the dungeon again. So that makes every encounter meaningful, every single monster. And it makes you like really reconsider, like, okay, do I have the resources to go through this? I need to plan it out to make sure I have enough potions, I have all the gear necessary, I have the levels necessary. And even then, that might not even, later on, that's not even going to save you necessarily. As you saw, even with my nearly level 30 party, I almost got some of those boss fights nearly killed us. So like we could have very much died if things had gone south. So even though the boss fights in this game are very short, they are very, very meaningful, because just some wrong strategies, or if the boss got lucky, then you're dead. So we could have very well been wiped out. So that is one thing that I get, that they're trying to establish the score of like adventure being dangerous, but I do think it's a bit too punishing. Like, even the dungeons are kind of like not all that interesting. We hadn't figured out how to make things beyond like, oh, go to the different path, there's a chest there, oh, and there's a lot of dead ends too, stuff to waste your time. So you could try to figure it out, this game, on your own and map it out. It'll just be very, very time consuming. I mean, this was made for a different era. Like, you could say that we're more conditioned to be like impatient, but I mean, and this was the 80s, where you didn't have a whole selection of games to play, so you had to just stick with one. And you got Final Fantasy, you're going to try to make the best of it as much as you can. If you didn't have the money to buy the guides, which you could very well do so. I'm personally we're just in a different era nowadays, where we have so many choices, so those people don't have the patience to do that level of investment. You can go ahead and do so though. You can still do that, even because for this game, but it will take you a long time. So oftentimes most people just play with the guides, because frankly the game's already hard enough as it is. The last thing you want is to do all that and then you die and you have to do it again. and it's just like, oh geez, that's painful. So I think the core game loop is solid, and like the battles are solid, but like I think it's just everything is just like the foundation, right? It's the same thing with the battles. It's like, yeah, they're not they're very riveting for sure, but you had very little control, and there's a lot of luck involved, and like a real Dungeons and Dragons campaign, of course. But like that also makes it so that you can just die to random things, and it's very, very annoying. There's a lot of pain, even though there's a lot of good. So for some people, I think like maybe the pain is just too much. But if you are, for some crazy people like myself, like we kind of try to handle the pain and deal with it. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting gameplay. Like you could see like the foundations of what a Final Fantasy would be, but like I feel like they hadn't really figured out how to make it less punishing. Like the only thing that I will give them credit is that at least you can save in front of, like there is at least ways to save in the world map, but that's kind of nice. But they had no mid-dungeon saves equals, oh my goodness, especially that final dungeon, the final boss rush. That boss rush is really brutal, and like I would not wish it on anyone. It's not the worst thing I've gone through, but goodness gracious, there are so many opportunities for us to fail, and it was really painful to go through. So yeah, it was really bad. Like it's really bad for the longer dungeons too, and especially forcing us to go through a dungeon 3 times is really, really bad too. The ice cave is just dreadful. That's actually absolutely dreadful. Like I get it for content padding purposes, but no fun, not fun at all. And like, of course, you could use an emulator and do save states, but I feel like that's kind of like that's not really a solution if you're having to use cheat devices. Essentially, you have to cheat the game because you're using stuff that's resources outside of the game. But you could argue that that's necessary to do it, and of course, you could play later versions of the game too that have that handle the saves differently. But I'm just talking about this game in particular, so we won't go into that. So yeah, the gameplay is really is fun, but like there's not actually too much grinding, funnily enough. This game is actually not very grinding heavy. Like yeah, we spent like 20 minutes to grind every so often, but like it's really not that bad. That goes very swiftly. So you don't actually need to grind too much. Maybe I think in total we did about roughly an hour of grinding, like an hour and a half maybe at most, but like it's not the worst thing in the world. It could be a lot worse, that's for sure. But there is still a little bit of grinding, so you gotta please keep that in mind. Alright, so now that we've talked about all that, would I recommend this game? Like, is a thumbs, like my system's a thumbs up buy, where like yes, absolutely play this game, and like you'll want to play it many times. Was it a thumbs up rent? Like, do you like what I recommend it? Give it a try, but it might not be for everyone. There's thumbs up buy. I didn't personally like it, but maybe you will. And there's just thumbs down where I feel like the game is just terrible. But anyway, so for me personally, I would say it's a thumbs up rent. It's kind of an interesting thing where even in spite of all the pain, like there's a reason this game was a hit, because it was fun. It was still really fun to go through as an experience. Like, yeah, it's hard, but like you saw with even some preparation, we were able to overcome the game's obstacles. Had a little bit of luck on our side too, and we had a little bit of unluckiness at the end, but hey, even with the unluckiness, we still were able to attain victory. So it's not impossible. I will say that it's probably oh yeah, I forgot to mention that for gameplay, like it is a bit on the slow side, so that the animations being so slow, is also very grating too. So that's another thing to keep in mind for this version of the game. So I think like for this version, remember this isn't about the later version. There are much more accessible versions of this game later on. But for this NES version, I would say it's mostly probably a thumbs up, Brent. You have to be really light. I would say you have to be more patient and willing to deal with things that come your way, especially if you're playing on not emulator and you cannot speed up anything. Like that is, you'll have to be a bit more accommodating. But I do think there's a solid game in there, like to go through. It's not that bad. It will definitely be for seasoned RPG veterans. It's pretty good. For first time people, I would actually say that like if you are a first time person new to JRPGs, I would not recommend starting with this, in spite of its history, in spite of it being some people's first RPGs. I don't actually think this is actually that great of a first RPG. I think you could probably go. There are other games I would start with. Basically overall, it was like a positive experience, but it's quite retro and it's quite dated, and you probably, unless you are like you want to experience the original, there are better ways to play this game at this point. You could, of course, you can play this on any emulator, official emulator service and unofficial emulators, of course, but which will make the game easier because you save state before dangerous things. But yeah, there are many versions of this game that improve upon the graphics and sound, and definitely improve on the speed. But they are quite vastly different, so do keep that in mind and do your research on the versions of the game that are available. But yeah, for me, thumbs up, Red. But mostly for people who want to experience what the original is like. But like for most people, they will probably want to gravitate to a newer version of the game, honestly. So yeah, that is all for Final Fantasy on the NES. There's not too much. Like, it was the longest. I still have a pretty good amount of things to say because they're giving you a lot to say. But otherwise, that is pretty much it for the review. So we are going to go ahead and so we're going to go. Our main game, Corpse Party, will begin on next Monday, so please tune in for that. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead into Zelda and now and finish up. Well, essentially finish the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here. But I guess if you did enjoy today's stream, we do have I gotta put the social. Thank you. Discord, where you can discuss this game and other games of interest, or you can follow us on Facebook or X or Blue Sky down below. We do have archives of previous streams on that YouTube panel. You may start seeing newer ones as we go, because I think that's probably for the best, that we have both the old stuff and the new stuff being uploaded at the same time. So you may start seeing it starting with the game after Corpse Party, because for now, I'm going to. Corpse Party is I technically already had a previous stream for Corpse Party, so I don't want to do that. But after Corpse Party, we'll start uploading. We'll try to upload in streams right after they're aired, and so that's kind of my new plan of how to handle that YouTube channel, so it's not just showing really old stuff. But yeah, feel free to stop by, and we'll see you for Corpse Party on Monday. Otherwise, we'll see you for Zelda in just a couple of minutes. So I guess, as always, 晚安, which means good night, and 很快就见, which means see you very soon, and 谢谢收看, which means thank you for watching. Alright guys, we're going to switch games now, so see you in just a moment. Bye now. 各位观众，晚上好。我们今天要玩《塞尔达传说：智慧的再现》，or as we know it in English, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Hello everyone, welcome to probably the last stream for this game too. We just finished Final Fantasy NES on the main stream. We're on the chill stream now. And here we are. We have done everything related to side quests and many things, and pretty much all the side content. I think we're only maybe we didn't do 100% echoes, but I'm not gonna do that. We don't need it. We are all set. We have every outfit. We've done everything possible. Sorry about that. So let's finally put an end to this nonsense. Yeah, just now we had a little review of... Oh yeah, I need to say that I am playing Zelda. That would probably be a good idea, actually, for anyone who's still awake at this point. Sorry for the delay. I had something to take care of earlier, so I would have streamed earlier. There you go. For instance, this is the chill game stream. I don't really do a lot of social media promotion. I'm kind of like, yeah, honestly, at this point, that's more accurate. Like, one game just has... Alright, there is Link. He's been waiting for us patiently. And now we are here. Let's go. Okay, now we have to defeat Null. Let's give Link his weapons and defeat Null together. Will you give him his weapons now? Yes. When you return his weapons, you won't be able to use them anymore. Also, no more sword fighter. I feel like once we go inside, there won't be any backing out. Are you ready to head in? I'm ready. Alright. Let's rearm Link. There you go, buddy. It's time. Let's stop No once and for all. Will you have to slay it? I don't know. So this is the inside of Null. The prime energy is just ahead. Zelda, Link, let's go. Null's body. Okay, it's just one. There's no point in no return, so I don't expect it to be a very lengthy dungeon. Probably a little bit of movement. Yeah, as you remember, I like how they address it. They made it so that you know that Link's they had an actual in-game reason why this Link can't talk, because he's affected by the rift. Unfortunately, he, unlike other children, were also lost their voices. So it's actually pretty cool they address it in... Oh, is it time? Yeah, I won't be able to use Sword Fighter form anymore. I did all that work, so I can't use Sword Fighter form. It's gonna be chaos for a bit. Here's the Lionel. Gotta love them. No, do I have a Lionel of my own? That's a good question. I don't think I ever got the Lionel Echo. I should have though. I thought I killed one already, but maybe I don't remember correctly. No, I don't think I have a Lionel. What a shame. Nope, I don't think I do. I guess I never beat one. We have the smoothies in case we need it, but it is a little sad they took away Sword Fighter form, so I won't be able to. Energy consumption makes no sense to keep around. So I worked so hard for that, but I can't use it in the end. So, what a shame. Yeah, you won't need rupees or any of those, so it's pointless. So oh no! I guess for now we better split up. I don't know if you can reach it. Okay. We may need someone a little bit. There you go. He's like, thank you. Feels weird that they can't do a whole... I can't use Sword Fighter form, but... yeah. Hey, I love windproof. let's go ahead and get someone to push that button. Can I do it this way? Darn it. No, that's not gonna help. I need a box. No, he can't swim. I have an idea. The hard part is just getting the... because he can't swim, so... we need to get him up there somehow. Or wait. Wait a minute. Isn't there something only... There you go. That's how you do it. Sorry. I was just like, wait a minute. Maybe not through there. Sorry guys, I had like a little brain dead there for a moment. I think this is the real deal. Well, we'll see. Are we gonna run into Null? Let's go. Oh yes, the fake Zelda. The real no. The priestess of wisdom and the hero. I see you intend to interfere. How vexing. Then again, you've come here and brought the prime energy directly to me. The goddesses, they have taken everything from me. Now I will use their power to take it all back. As you remember, the goddesses sealed them away. Aha! So this is the prime energy. I am overflowing with power. Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. Is this the end of the world? Null is creating massive rifts. The towns, everyone's being pulled in. I understand now. I understand all that is the prime energy. Yet it is insufficient. I hunger for more. I must have everything. I must have all of the prime energy. Give it to me! No. What the? No. It looks a lot like... You know what's funny? It looks like Try. Can I use those whiz robes? No. There you go. Coward. There you go. Kinda all I can do is just keep summoning and summoning and summoning. But it does make it so I can keep squirreling away because I don't worry about Sword Fighter form. The thing's taking care of that for me. There you go. Not enough. I must have more. Nola's trying to escape. Hurry. Uh-oh. Shoot. Oh no, we won't have Link to help anymore. Oh no, Null's buddy. so squirrely, or it's so squirrely. Link fought his way here. Pretty strong guy. I love the music though. Interesting. Here's the forms of previous bosses. Fortunately, we fought them in, so at least we know how to defeat them if necessary. Annoying. Poor Link being his oh boy. Gotta buy my fodder soon. Oh, there it is. This is embarrassing. That's a lot of cannons. Evil. That is super mean. I'll take care of that bot once I have a little downtime. Body McBotterson. Really fun. Oh, Doma. Ow. 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 I tried to dodge it. Ow. I'm taking that from you. Go. There you go. The Triforce is coming together again. Or the Prime Energy is what we call it here. Give it to me. No, I don't think we will. Give it to me. Oh. And that's the end of Null. Note, he's not going to get a second chance of getting the Triforce. So in a sense, null is like a kind of like a force of nature. Ooh. And now with the power of the Triforce, try. Sorry. They restore everyone. The poor ranch people. I think if I had a different outfit, this state would look really weird. But no, we have normal outfit.
Zelda, the rifts will disappear and your world will return to a state of peace. Me and my friends came here to heal an injured world. Now that Null isn't around creating rifts, everything will be okay. With Null gone, there's no need for us anymore, so we will return to the goddesses to slumber. This is where we part. What's wrong, Zelda? Hyrule is back to normal and me and my friends have finished our work here.
You know, say goodbye.
But you seem like you're not happy?
Because you're going, Try.
Oh, I understand now. We won't be together anymore. And that's kind of sad, huh? That's right.
I'm shocked for Zelda here.
Zelda, when I look at you, I feel all warm inside. I think I want to tell you about this feeling. I'm feeling thank you. I didn't understand this feeling before, but I do now. I have to go. Zelda, I'm grateful to have known you. Thank you.
Aww. Our buddy who went with us all the way. But his duty is done, and it's time to say goodbye. Sorry about that. Just Zelda here. The priestess. Or the princess. Here's Link. No, I don't think Link can talk. Of course, the Hyrule Castle Town people. Of course, Impa and Lou Berry over there. I was for a minute I had to think about his name. The King of Hyrule, Minister left and right. General right and Minister left. I forgot, the right is not a minister. Oh, Princess Zelda's talking. How Link's like, no, I can't take credit for this one. She did most of the work. Oh, Link talk. His voice is back. I like how they're shocked. They're like, oh my gosh, Link, your voice is back. Well, that makes sense though. Remember that Null purified the world. So everyone can, so Link's voice is back. It's interesting that Zelda still has her staff. And she's thankful, or just looking up because she's thankful to Null and the rest of, not Null, excuse me, Tri and the rest of them, rest of his friends. I wonder if we'll show more because we did all the side quests. Probably. Hopefully. Oh my goodness, we've been on this game for so long. A lot of things happened in between, so can't blame it. Unless we complete all the side quests. So we did everything possible in the game. Short of collecting all the echoes, as you saw, I didn't have a Lionel, so I didn't have all the echoes. But there's Lord Jabu Jabu, the real one. At least the final boss has some symphonic stuff in it, orchestral stuff. That was pretty cool. The Eternal Force, of course. The scientists and Gerudos. And of course, we have the royal family full set, the real one. Why? It's sad I can't. I forgot the name of the royal family. Oh my goodness. That's how long ago it was when we did her quest. The kitties that talk amongst themselves. Meow. The dojo. He is all pooped out from the dreaming. The dream training. The Gorons, of course, with the new lead. Oh, they're talking to people. They're off the mountain. If they're a new leader. Oh, forgot his name too. Oh no. I feel so bad because I'm forgetting character names from earlier quests. Hey, the twins. Grezzo helped worked on this one as well. Is it Gabichi? I forget his name. The
the new leader of the Gorons, who had to succeed when his father passed away. Link is able to talk to the people of Sunset Village. Sunloft, not Sunset. It must be weird because they're like, you can talk? Yeah, he got his voice back. The Stat Man. NOA for localization. Now there is no more cotton candy, but we'll eat electro apples. Dampe. Shaking his fist at the little crow that's on his house. I've forgotten the name of the Deku Scrub too. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting everyone's names. There's Konde. I only remember Konde because he's the latest one. I'm forgetting everyone else's names. There's the Deku Tree, the last thing. It's kind of interesting to see all these bunch of characters from different Zeldas kind of reappearing in this one, but kind of remixed compared to normal. Here we're at Luberry again, and Luberry now has his friend Link, who can test his new weapons. It's cool that at least you were able to use Zelda to use... I know, it was kind of weird to have Zelda be Link for a little bit, but it's very useful. It is a little sad you can't use Sword Fighter form in the end, because we did so much work to make Sword Fighter form really useful, and then we can't use it at the end. But I guess it wouldn't... if you think about it lore-wise, technically it is the power, Link's powers, so... it would make sense that you wouldn't be able to do that anymore, because those are, you need the real thing. It is more efficient to have the real thing anyway. Anyway, Zelda's back, assisting her father. Meow. Oh, the staff. The only memoir of the adventure doesn't do anything anymore since there is no try to work with it. The end. Cool, and you have the staff in the back now. And it shows a star that you have beaten the game. Does anything happen if I load here? Key items that you can now view the total number of echoes, pieces of hearts, and more by checking your notebook and pressing Y on the map. If you talk to the Deku Tree, he'll tell you which regions to visit to find echoes you haven't learned yet. once again, you're in the front. Oh, so if you didn't already have, it will show you all the missing echoes. So of course we don't have every single one, but clearly we're missing quite a few. Not that many. We're missing like 4. We needed 4 of 127, so yeah, but we have now everything. Yeah, we were only missing 4 echoes. Wow, we were almost at 100%. We're not going to go ahead and do that anymore, but... Alright, well... Yeah, before we finish the playthrough, I just want to show you what would have happened, or not, what happens if you talk to the Deku Tree and ask where the echoes are. Yeah, we didn't have a Lino, which kind of sucks. Actually, I should have gotten one. So it is you, Priest of Wisdom. I sense you have journeyed for a long time now with the power of echoes. If there are echoes you have yet to learn, I can offer you knowledge on where they may be. Now then, do you need something from me? Echolocations? Very well, what I see is a total of 2 in Hyrule Field and a total of 1 in the Eternal Forest. A total of 1 in Faron Wetlands. It seems you have yet to learn all of the echoes. No, I'm good. Priestess of Wisdom, take comfort knowing this old tree will always be watching over you. Wow, we were only 4 away. So I guess the notebook would have made things easier. It's too bad it doesn't help you with the mic bells. But, yeah. I guess that's it, guys. We have finished the game. And, we don't really have anything more to do. You could collect the echoes, but I don't think you get anything out of it, so... we're not going to go and do that since we've beaten the game and we've done all the extra challenges. So even with the echoes, we don't have anything to use it on except unless you want to do the combat challenges again. But I think I'm good. I think we're done with the game. This is a good stopping point for the game, and I think we're ready to... That ends our Zelda Echoes of Wisdom playthrough. I know it's weird, right? We actually are ending. It's the end. Yep, we have finally reached the end. I enjoyed this game a lot, and a lot of fun. So I'm not gonna do a review because this is not the main game stream. But yeah, would definitely recommend playing it. Really, just to say it. All right. So you may be wondering, what are we gonna play after this game? So we're gonna take a temporary break from Zelda, and a game just happened to arrive. That is going to be a nice little break from Zelda, because our next game is going to be Pragmata. Yes, so that wasn't originally the planned next game. I was always thinking about what to play, but now we have an interesting little game has come out from a big company, Capcom, and that game looks really interesting, and I think it's time we get our chance to play it. We're only maybe a month late, but yeah, this will be a good really fast turnaround, a month behind the game's release. So I'm excited to play Pragmata, and I'll tell you what game we play afterwards. So we'll be taking a break from Zelda's, and we're going to be playing Pragmata on the Switch 2. We have the Switch 2. I have the Switch 2 version. So that'll be a lot of fun, and we will start probably tomorrow and see how far we can go. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching to the end of the playthrough. I guess we will see you all. If you did enjoy this, we do have a main game stream on, which is the more proper game. This is the chill game slot, so we kind of just play whenever and at any length, whereas the main game one I try to do it a bit earlier, but it's with varying success. But if you did enjoy this, we do have a Discord. We discuss this game and other games of interest. Or you can follow us on Facebook or X or Blue Sky down below. We have archives of previous streams on that YouTube channel. We have yeah, so the main game will be Corpse Party. We are starting it completely new, so it's a good time to join in if you haven't been watching on our main game slots. We do it on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This Friday won't be Corpse Party. We'll just do Pragmata instead, but which is unusual because normally we would do it on Tuesday, Thursdays. So yeah, that'll be the start of Pragmata probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday. But so it will be on a chill game stream. Which, since it's such a new game, doesn't really fit our criteria for main games, because those tend to be on the older side of more voice acting. So yeah, I'm excited to get started. Feel free to tune in with us on Corpse Party. I'll have a lot more to say too, because I won't be like focused, because Zelda's a very reflex heavy game. I don't get to talk as much. So yeah, thank you all for watching to the end. I guess, as always, 晚安, which means good night, and 下次再见 means see you next time, and 谢谢收看 means thank you for watching. 求神祝福们, may God bless you. 愿你一天有福, a mere day before blessing. Hope you guys had a good one, and see you later. Bye now. Thank you, Illusion Queen, for being here, by the way. See you later, guys.